Coaches, sorry I didn't get time to put this really in a PowerPoint kind of format, but wanted to go over some things. Time's kind of precious for us here in the postseason, but had a lot of questions coming in over the past week or so on different rules or things that coaches were seeing around the state, and wondering, hey, what is it coaches should be doing, because officials are looking at things or maybe calling things a little different than we're used to. And so I want to make sure everybody had at least the same information that I got from Sam and the officials associations. To begin with, one of their key areas is starting positions, right? They are trying to be more clear and strict on what proper starts are. So some takeaways from that. The offensive wrestler, right, should have their palm covering the defensive wrestler's elbow. They're pretty particular about that, right? So the placement of the elbow. Offensive wrestler's knee or leg is not supposed to come in contact with the opponent, in any spot. Head has to be on or above the midline of the defensive wrestler's back. And then the defensive wrestler, right, a couple key things here. The heels of both hands should be on the mat. Again, keyword here is heels of both hands. I did ask for clarification on that too, and it is not full palm and fingers. It is heels of both hands. And then elbows off the mat, right, to allow the offensive wrestler to have a proper start. So here's one that's I got a lot of questions on, right, the optional start or releases. Again, the big thing in this is if you're going to do a intentional release or the optional start, you are supposed to make that declaration prior to the official saying set to the defensive wrestler. If it comes after that, they are supposed to issue a caution for an improper start. So again, if you're going to do an optional start or a release, it is supposed to come prior to the official saying set to the bottom man. Illegal holds or maneuvers, hands to the face or hands to the eyes. It's always kind of that weird judgment area, right? It is illegal. Does not matter if it is intentional or accidental. They are supposed to call that, right, illegal when there's hands to the face or eyes. Officials, have asked for further clarification as there's been some confusion about hands in the eyes, right, and what's penalized or not. It's not up to the official to decide, right, was it accidental or on purpose. It's supposed to be, if it occurs, then they penalize it. Reminder with the front quarter, right, that you cannot run that front quarter with the hand around the chin. Again, figure fours around the body, head, or figure fouring both legs are not allowed. Or a hold or maneuver that you are just using to punish, right, the opponent. The wing, or chicken wing as some call it, again, the pressure of that is not supposed to be forward, right, straight towards that shoulder or up and over that shoulder. It's supposed to be, right, following, that circular motion or around. That is something they're watching. Stalling, right, always a big one. We always see stalling different. Remember, that is a judgment thing, right? But you are required to always be making an honest attempt to stay in the center of the mat, to wrestle aggressively, right, or work towards, scoring or being in that positive position, regardless of what your score is or how much time is left in the match. All right, if an official recognizes stalling occurring, they, regardless of position, right, or time of the match or points, are supposed to warn the offender, and then violations occurring from there. Near fall, a few questions here, not as many. Just remember, right, that's when the offensive wrestler has control of the opponent in a pinning situation, right? Near fall criteria is met when there's a period of 2 seconds or longer. That 2 second count. Remember, the defensive wrestler must be held or restrained in criteria before the near fall count can begin. The Blair bar. We've obviously seen this ride kind of increase in popularity over time and seen a little bit more, especially with some of the high-level wrestlers. Again, when ran correctly, it is not illegal. Unfortunately, there's a lot more injuries and pieces that have been coming out of this of it not being ran correctly, or at least coming out fully correctly in the end. So they are watching that a lot more. It's been resulting in injuries. So if it is being pried improperly, right, going against the joint, it is supposed to be stopped then and there for potentially dangerous. Just like any other move, if it's going against the joint and they are not able to stop that on time, it is not potentially dangerous at that point. It is to be penalized as illegal. So, trying to run it quicker to not give officials the time to stop that is potentially dangerous, or to run things over could be putting yourself in dangerous territory as you are going right from what could be potentially dangerous in a bad situation to illegal every time. Here's another one that came up a few times, right? Who can speak to officials and when and how does that work? Obviously, approaching the head table, right, getting clarification or questions or those pieces, always encouraged. It is supposed to be only one coach that goes up to speak with the official at a time. Whichever coach comes up to the table, right, is to be recognized by that official. And if there's a misconduct warning issued, there needs to be there. It does go against the head coach. So, if your third assistant goes up, that misconduct warning is still on the head coach. So be aware of that. Unsportsmanlike penalties themselves, though, those go to the violating coach, not necessarily, right, the head coach. An official should not refuse to speak to a representative of your team, right, that is a legal representative of your team, just because they're not the head coach if they're coming off the corner or the bench in a dual meet situation. If there's other kind of big questions out there lingering, please let us know, right? We want to get those answered and keep everybody on the same page. This isn't about anybody being ahead of the curve of who's got the rules or the inside track on things. It's about the best wrestling possible that can occur for our kids here in this postseason, keeping things safe and exciting. I wish everybody the best of luck in the coming regionals, and hope to see many of you down at Ford Field here in a couple weeks.